regular day-to-day activities would have been disorienting. There was a chaotic sense that things were unraveling. And if you look at history, you see the rise and fall of so many empires, so many nation states. People have lived in times where economies have been ruined and populations decimated. I have a helpful book, is Paul Johnson's Modern Times, A History of the 20th Century. And he brings to the fore all of these political movements that were based upon eschatology, this idea that if we did this and organized ourselves in this way and defeated these people, got rid of this group, and there would be a utopia. I think I've mentioned this before. Utopia is an interesting term. The U from the Greek ou, which means not, and from the Greek topos, utopia, not a place. Utopia doesn't exist, even in its own definition of the term. You look back over the last century, the times in which our parents lived, the times in which many of us have lived. We saw the rise of Hitler's Nazism, the various experiments with communist totalitarianism, Stalin, Mao Zedong, Nicolae Ceausescu, Pol Pot. We saw the rise and the eclipse of the British Empire. I can remember as a child, the sun never set. What was it? The sun, never set on British soil. What was it? The idea being, whenever the sun set, it was setting on British soil. Now you go to that part of the world and things have changed. There are people of influence saying that the time of American dominance has changed. I recently read that there are presently over 65 million people who are moving as refugees from war, from Africa, the Middle East, Southern Europe, Myanmar, even on the southern border of our own country. Cultures, societies collapsing, economic devastation. And we're reading of that here in Revelation 18, but not the collapse of a region, but of a global, worldwide Babylonian society. The beast and kings turn to devour the plague of darkness. Enough cohesion in order to coordinate a demonically constructed attack upon the church, upon the Lamb. But in reality, Babylon is facing the wrath of God and experiencing the wrath of God. Fallen is Babylon. And it's so much of a certainty that John, although writing about something in the future, writes with what we would call a prophetic perfect tense. He's writing as though the event has already happened. It's so certain it can be seen as having already taken place. The angelic announcer, second, the announcement, Babylon is fallen. The nations have drunk of the wine of the pure, and the merchants of the earth have become rich by the wealth of her sensuality. So here are three groupings of people who have been seduced by Babylon's wine. The nations, the kings of the earth, and the merchants. As we move into the rest of chapter 18, the nations will be profiled in verses 9 to 10. The kings will be profiled in verse 9 to 10. The merchants, the weddings, and the nations, and again the merchants. This total incorporation of all the activities that comprise social engagements. You're looking at nations, ethne, Gentiles, unconverted people, earth dwellers, deceived, idolaters. Here's the force and pressure of the will of the majority, the demands of democracy, if you will. Then there are the kings of the earth, and these are regional monarchs and rulers over their own empires and realms. We're told that they will be deceived by the false miracles depicted by the 3 frogs that come from the mouths of the dragon and the false prophet and the beast. And they work to deceive the kings of the earth, who willingly, intentionally give their resources and their support to Antichrist, who marshals a final assault upon the truth of God in this battle of Armageddon. And then there are the economic leaders, the leaders of the economy, of commerce, the merchants. This word in the original actually means a passenger on a boat. It's kind of interesting. Commentators say this is a description of a wholesale dealer who buys in bulk and then transports his goods on a boat across the Mediterranean Sea so that he comes to various ports and then sells to retailers. And it's interesting as we proceed in chapter 18 that the merchants in particular are profiled, that Babylon's destruction is in her economy that comes into focus. What are these, the nations, the kings, and the merchants? Well, these are aspects of culture and society that influence us, that influence how we live in a particular place and a particular time. These are the people that have positions of authority, have positions of influence, can make things happen. These are the people behind whom powers and principalities are at work, who promote values, who promote a way of living, who give the people of any culture at any time and place meaning and significance. This is how you should live. This is how you should spend your time. This is what you should live for. This is what you should invest your resources and energies into. And all will be reinforced by the will of the majority. The nations, the people will all be supporting these kinds of things of the earth. The military, political authorities, the merchants, the people who are in business and who indictments immorality twice and sensuality once. And of course we know that immorality is code word for idolatry. This is the unfaithful devotion to idols. Duality is the pleasures of life lived in this present age. So you're looking at the commerce of pagan idolatry coupled with the carousing of pagan debauchery, which also includes the perversion of sexual promiscuity. In other words, these are the voices that entice citizens to pursue the Babylonian dream. A life of pleasure,